This was taken in the spring of 1949 and shows Yoronda looking north up Eden Valley. On the left, oh, there's Grace Van Dusen, Francis Atchison, Frank Humphreys. The little girl is Nancy Meeker, now Burley. On the left is Ralph Hooper. On the right is Frank Humphreys, and Yoronda is kneeling. There is Kathy Meeker and her son Lloyd. And her sister Billy, now Billy Cable. That is Vernon Fay levering the water tank. Gilbert Bradley and Yoronda. Grace's son, Billy, and Nancy. There is William O'Shane, bearded and covered with paint. Here is Yoronda at the time of the construction of the little chapel. There is Lillian on the left by the rimrock. Billy Van Dusen, Lillian's daughter Sharon, and Nancy. Lillian is conducting the choir in a practice on top of the rimrock. They are rehearsing for the Easter pageant. 1949. This is the pageant dress rehearsal. In the background is Yoronda standing on the rock. Here now is the actual performance at sunrise on Easter morning, with all the choir angels present. Roman soldiers are patrolling the tomb. Here 3 angels are descending toward the tomb. The Roman soldiers depart in a hurry. Rosalind Hooper and Billy Cable portray the 2 angels rolling back the stone. The 3rd angel standing above is Kathy Meeker. Grace, as Mary Magdalene, approaches the tomb. Looks into it. Then sees the Master. Touch me not. She runs to tell the disciples about it. Peter, William O'Shane, and John Richard Thompson wake up and run to the tomb. Peter goes inside. John stays outside. Yoronda, as the Master, has risen up to stand on the rock above. The choir again, the angelic throng, singing the words of the songs were all written by Yoronda. Here he is extending blessing. It is dawn and the sun is just coming up. William O'Shane is Peter and Richard Thompson. John, Grace is Mary, and others. Later, Yoronda is with Lillian's daughter Sharon and some other children. Vernon Fay is with me. Yoronda planted some olive trees near the little chapel. Unfortunately, they didn't survive. There are a number of people with him, including Dorothy Thompson, Fern Meeker, Gilbert, and Dolly Bradley, among others. This is now at 100 Mile House. Rose Forker standing by my house, which is now the Marks residence. Here I am. This is still 1949. This shot was taken in the highlands to the west of the 100. Yolanda and I had been measuring haystacks. That is Kathy in an athletic pose, once again in the highlands. Yolanda is with a couple of children. Yolanda is loading up the car, ready to go. There is Vernon Fay and Grace. This is looking northeast from where Ross's house presently is. There I am. Again I'm standing there. Later in the winter, Francis Atchison and Ross are coming out of the lodge. It seems that Ross was just waking up. There is always snow to shovel. What a beautiful sunny day. Mary Mackenzie and Lena Lusick, as she then was, ascend Cattle Hill with a toboggan, coming down at higher speed. Risky business. A little later in the year, when it's warmer again, up in the Highlands is Gordon Marks with a football. And Irving Howard, also Emily Marks, kicking the ball. And Irving again. There is Carolyn Marks, now Valcour. Marks, father and son on the move. Father triumphs. Son follows after. This is Francis trying to kick the ball, and Lena making the attempt. Oh dear, Ross is smoking by the haystack. Francis and Jessie Stuckey are sitting there, and Ross gets up and kicks the ball. We have now moved to Williams Lake for a cattle sale. Buyers and spectators are sitting in the stand. The invisible cattle are being moved around the ring. Here is the auctioneer, Matt Hassan. Now the cattle are in view. We are back at the 100, and Irving Howard is ascending to his place on top of a load of lumber, about to go on its way to Sunrise Ranch. So he settles down, ready for the drive. Those two are Albert Christensen and Norma, his wife. Various ones are emerging out of the woods. Dave and Carolina Sharnick, Emily Marks and Jessie Stuckey, Gordon Marks and Alan Graham, Mary Mackenzie and John Sharnick. Here's the unit group walking down the Caribou Road in front of the old general store. Amongst them are Ann Peccary, Gordon and Emily Marks, and various others. Now we go to Banff in Alberta, Indian Days, July 1949. Here are some of the Indians in their feathers and glory. Look at the old cars in the background. Now we are at Conrad's home, Fairholme Ranch, with Rosalie French, Kathy Meeker, and Yolanda, and two boys, Rollo French and Lloyd. There is Yoranda with a magnificent mountain view behind him. And here he is with me and a couple of children, Lloyd on the left and Rollo on the right. Yoranda picks up Rollo and Kathy raises Lloyd. Lillian is there, Conrad French, also Grace and others. Yoranda and Rosalie French behind, Sharon, Billy, and Nancy. Lloyd is being introduced to a horse. The girls enjoy the horse more. We are back again at Sunrise Ranch, 1950, showing the original sign that Grace made. Looking from somewhere near where the dome is now, Horsetooth Mountain is seen over the rimrock. This is looking down the valley to the south. Those willows are large trees now. Looking in the opposite direction, that's William's house. The shot pans from north around toward the west. The road going into the ranch has no avenues of trees yet. The barn, now Stable Gables, is seen, and the beginnings of the West Chapel. Finally, the habitation of rabbits, goats, and chickens, the barnyard, in fact. Looking toward the southwest, the bishop's residence comes into view. It was then called the lower house. Beyond wasn't our property at that time. This is farther down the valley toward where the reservoir now is. Dave Groves, Kathy's father, is drilling a well at the lower house. Nancy seems to be having trouble with her tricycle. She doesn't know how to reverse. Dave Groves is at it again with his drill. That shows the whole rig. Yoranda's office was in the trailer, and it was Grace's living quarters as well. Yoranda is with Kathy and with Nancy. There's Lillian helping out. And Yoranda on the cat, digging out the dirt from where the kitchen and bathroom addition was to be added. Carolyn Marks, now Valcour, on the left, Anya Sharnak, Kathy, and Nadine McKenney, and me. There's Yoranda. with Lloyd in splendid togs. And there's Stanley Grindstaff, as well as Nancy and Lloyd. I am with Rhonda in our dark suits, with Kathy and also Hanya. There are two beautiful ladies in the persons of Lillian and Grace. And there's Richard Thompson with his daughter Mary, now Mary Schmier. Richard and Dorothy Thompson are seen together. Chuck Strickwerder, Kathy, Lloyd, and Vernon Fahey, and Billy as well. Vivian Grindstaff, and Stan Grindstaff Sr., Nadine McKenney, Yoronda in his car. Now it's 1951 and we are back at the 100 again. A piano is being moved to the chapel. Gordon Marks and John O'Shaughnessy and Yoronda in the truck. Lillian and Kathy carry the bench. Now the car is being packed again for departure with a big unit send-off. This is the Watson Lake landing strip where Yoronda landed his plane, a Balanca, the first one. Yoronda and Kathy are getting in. It is now taking off from that rather bumpy strip. Altitude is gained rather slowly. This is back at sunrise in 1952 and shows the little red schoolhouse with the first training class members coming out of it. This was a GPC servers training class. The little red schoolhouse was the O'Shanes' residence. Yoronda is in his chaplain's Civil Air Patrol uniform. Also Don Buchan and his wife Exeter. Don had been a professional boxer. There is the old ranch house. Then the attunement sanctuary back of it. Some new buildings are going up. Most of them are still there. Once again, William O'Shane's house, which was the classroom as well. It is the basement of the Moore house now. This was Bertha Mayer's house. Subsequently, Fern Meeker lived there. A couple of horsemen at speed. Yoronda and Mike McCann, with me in the background, and others. Here we are again, saying goodbye. Back to the 100 now, to the 108 to be exact. Michael and I are at the 108 Lake for a unit picnic in 1952. Here is Michael again, mowing the lawn at my house. This is my father, who was visiting from England with Michael. Michael was at school in England at the time, so there they walked together. Looking toward the northeast from my house, Ross and my father are together. Ross and Yvonne Oshanik are riding on the little old John Deere cat. That is Bev Smith, now Bev Purdom, of the Mount Bigby Lookout. In the same location are David and Carolyn Oshanik and Gordon Marks. Here I am with Bev and Francis. And there's Edith. Now we come to the building of the annex, now called Evergreen. Michael is in the red shirt. The first structure was a single story. It was built as an addition to the lodge for guests. Back at sunrise in 1953, when Richard and Dorothy Thompson's house was under construction. There were many at this GPC class. Betty Protzman, Harvey Myers, Bill Martins, Sam Hitchcock, Lauren French, Eddie Miller, Anne Brodie, subsequently Willemeyer, and her husband. Many busy people, Bill Martins, Naomi Shears, Dean McKinney, David Oshanik, Carl Kelly, Billy Cable, Alan Ackley, George Shears, Virgil Given. Most of these people were chiropractors. Edna Ackley, Albert and Edna together. Yolanda comes out the door. Here everybody is assembled. This is the 1953 commencement at the West Chapel. At the 100, it is the winter of 1956, Emily and Lillian at our new house. The new food center has been built in town. A small crowd is waiting outside for the opening. Lillian and Marina are in our new house. Lorraine Cowan is drinking tea. I came down the stairs and sat in my chair. Mary Mackenzie reading a book. Edith Brownlee, Michael, and Lillian. The office shared by Grace and me. Helen coming down the stairs. Here I am, sitting in my chair again, in the northeast corner of the living room. Back suddenly to Sunrise Ranch. George and Naomi Shears. This is the 1956 class. I see Norman Gilbert there, and Marjorie. Hoisting the flag. This is the crowd watching the raising of the flag. There's Fred Sirk, the block layer. Back to the 100 for Marina's first birthday. There is Marina, Lloyd and Nancy, and also Rollo French. There we are, Lillian and me, with Marina. We move on to the picnic at the milk ranch. That's Lillian in the middle, and Lorraine on the right. Richard Thompson. This is the field behind the barn with Ross doing some baling. Ross again raking. Lloyd following after him. Also Nancy. Now we're back at Sunrise looking towards the rimrock. Fields of grain. Combining. That is Kirkendall grading the road. Feeding the chickens. Norman Tizard shoveling manure. Bob Patton with the cows. Many hay bales. Dick Cable, Fred Seark, and Frank Protzman. That's Frank's back. And this is Roger de Winton and Edna Ackley at their marriage. Dallas and Diana de Winton, now Gilbert and Pittman, respectively. Timo on the right and Attucks on the left. Lorraine Cowan on the right, Lillian and Grace. Lillian and Marina is the final shot.